GearFest 2022.
Welcome to GearFest 2022. My name is Mitch Gallagher and I have the privilege of being your host for this incredible event. We're excited to have you join us for this year's exclusive online edition of Sweetwater's GearFest. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a great show planned for you and I can't wait to get things started. But first, what is GearFest? GearFest is Sweetwater's annual gathering where musicians, engineers, producers, manufacturers, and more come together to share our passion for music, pro audio, and gear. For this year's two-day live stream event, we've put together an absolutely incredible lineup of artists, special features, and more. We've got interviews, rig tours, performances, surprise special guests, and so much more. We've got something for everyone at GearFest 2022. Now, Sweetwater's been bringing you GearFest annually for more than 2 decades now. Every year we start planning the next GearFest months in advance so we can make improvements and do our best to up our game and bring you the very best show we possibly can. This year, GearFest will be coming to you via live stream today and tomorrow, but GearFest will continue into the coming weeks because we brought nearly 36 of the biggest music and gear content creators from social media right here to our campus in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They've had a chance to tour a mini trade show and check out tons of gear with dozens of manufacturers. They're visiting guitar, keyboard, and drum experience rooms. They're participating in games and events and much more. So look for all of them to be posting tons of GearFest videos and content on their respective channels in the coming weeks. The key is to search hashtag GearFest on YouTube and your favorite social media platforms, and that way you'll find everything GearFest related. Now this is GearFest, so of course there's going to be a big emphasis on gear throughout the weekend. There'll be new products introduced here, as well as an incredible array of exciting deals on the gear you want and need at Sweetwater.com. And I'll let you in on a secret. We got to keep this just between you and me. If you reach out directly to your Sweetwater sales engineer today and tomorrow, your sales engineer can fill you in on amazing unlisted gear deals you won't find anywhere else. Plus, we've got great financing options for your gear purchases too. But it wouldn't be GearFest without free gear, so you'll have multiple chances to win free gear today and tomorrow. Stick around, I'll be filling you in on how to get your chance to win later in this live stream. We'll be giving away a huge studio gear package, a massive guitar gear package, and more. But to learn how you can win, you got to be watching this live stream. So what can you expect to see during today's live stream? We've got interviews with guitarists Emil Werstler and Aaron Marshall. We've got a rig tour with War on Drugs. You'll see videos from drummers extraordinaire Mike Mangini from Drum Theater and Jay Weinberg from Slipknot. There'll be music too, including a performance by the Cock-Marshall Trio featuring the amazing Greg Koch on guitar. And I'm especially looking forward to a brand new GearFest feature called the Rodeo Games. I think you're really going to enjoy that one. We've also got live music throughout the show, courtesy of our house band, featuring our friend Allie Venable. Allie, it's great to have you and your band here. They're going to be jamming the blues for us, and you should definitely check out Allie's latest album, Heart of Fire. You can also check her out live on tour with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Now to kick things off, we've got a man who's truly worthy of the word legend. I'm talking about blues guitarist and vocalist Buddy Guy. Buddy's list of credits and accomplishments is, it's just way too long to go into here, but it says it all that his fans include Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and many, many more. He's one of the last of the great second generation of Chicago bluesmen, and he's still living the dream at age 85. Buddy's busy with tours, performances, his new blues-based internet radio station, new music, and more. I recently had a chance to sit down with Buddy at his club Legends in Chicago. Here's a clip from that interview where Buddy talks about where his trademark polka dots came from. So you have a new signature guitar with Fender that you've been, the Stratocaster with the polka dots.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I lied to my mama. I'm the oldest boy, and it was 5 of us, 3 boys and 2 girls, and she had had a stroke. And I was working at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I think I was making $28 a week before they take out. And I found out from another guy who had come here, said, man, you could go to Chicago and you could make twice that. You could make $60 a week. And my mom and dad didn't have an education and I could help them. I said, well, I'm gonna go try Chicago and I could send back more money here than I'm here. So I hopped the train on September 25th, 1957 and got off here. I knew the guy, so I found his house. And it wasn't easy because, you know, people look at you, who are you? I mean, my late friend, Junior Wells, and I said, man, I can play. Who you played with before?
Right.
And these are kind of things. But Muddy didn't do that. That's why I took him in as a dad or whatever. And quite a few people, because after they heard me, they couldn't deny it, because I could play those Jimmy Reed licks, man, and Lightning Hopkins, and they were saying, where you from? Where you come? Where you come up at? And then I looked at, back in those days, all the blues clubs, wasn't no blues club this size. All the blues club bandstands was behind the bar.
Yeah.
Well, you see that whiskey, and they had a flap like at the end of this bar. When they would call Muddy out, they was all sitting in chairs, and they would flap this down, and Muddy would come between, and you had 2 waitresses on each side, and they working 2 cash registers. So you could sit there, and Muddy would be almost like you could put your hand on his feet. So these guitar players, Lewis, Dave Miles, Earl Hooker, Otis Rush, and all of them, I said, man, these guys is playing. I said, I need to know. But I had watched Guitar Slim, and they all was sitting down playing. Plus, they had music stands with J.W. Junior Wells. And I'm saying, they read music. I got to go back to Louisiana and start reading music. But they was, excuse my language, they was bullshitting. They didn't have no sheets up there. And when I found that out, I said, oh, I could do that, you know. So anyway, I said, well, I see them all sitting down. I said, I bet if I go up there and play and jump off that bar, somebody will pay attention to me, because they called, and sure enough I did, and they called me the Wild Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of led me to that. But I back to about my mother and that polka dot, I lied to her and I told her, I said, I'm gonna make double the money, I'm gonna send you some money, I'm gonna drive back down here in Louisiana. I'm trying to make her feel good. In a polka dot Cadillac, and I knew I was lying. Yeah. And I knew I didn't ever want to buy a polka dot, because if you got famous, that polka dot would show up everywhere, and everywhere you went, you couldn't rest, because sometime I try to go to dinner now in Brazil or Germany, everywhere, and if they recognize you, if you go into your mouth with a fork, they'll come grab your hand and say, will you sign this?
Yeah.
You get to the concert, if you ain't got a back door to get in, they line up outside, and it's a business now. Eric Clapton taught me this over 35, 40 years ago. Most of those people selling autographs now. I had one guy come up and tell me, if you can't sell this, I'm hungry. If you sign this, I can get me some food.
Wow.
Yeah, but they lying to you. So anyway, right. My mother passed away, and I said, oh man, I didn't get a chance to tell her I lied to her about that polka dot Cadillac. And I went to Fender. I said, I need something to remind me that big lie I told my mom about that polka dot Cadillac. I said, I'd like to get a polka dot guitar made so I'd have that with me the rest of my life, because I didn't get a chance to tell her I lied to her.
Right.
So they finally got me a polka dot. And what's so funny about it, they had what you call a NAMM show. It used to be here, and it was Nashville and somewhere else. So when they made it, they was like, who's gonna blah, blah, who's gonna blah. And all of a sudden, they took it into the NAMM show, and they called me and said, it's selling faster than the regular ones. Yeah.
Everybody wanted the polka dot.
Well, all the guys who had know a little about me wanted the polka dot, because it was something different, you know.
Tell you what a treat it was to get to sit down with a legend like Buddy Guy in person. I mean, he's one of a kind, that's for sure. Buddy turns 86 at the end of July, so we want to wish him an early happy birthday. And by the way, it's also another legend's birthday today. It's Jeff Beck's birthday, so happy birthday to him as well. Now, please join me in welcoming an incredible guitarist to the stage. This is Emil Werstler. Great band, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Venable, they're awesome. Emil, it's great to have you here, man.
It's great to be back.
8 years since the last time you were here. What's up with that?
You said it.
Man, I don't know if I scared you off or...
No, it was fine. There was a pandemic or something,
Something
and then all this
happened in the middle there,
Yeah,
right?
something happened in the middle there.
Well, we're glad to have you back today.
I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, man. So solo albums and success with bands, and you're a teacher, and you got other things going on as well that we're going to talk about. But one of the things that really stands out to me about you is that you're bringing together two really disparate musical forms. You study jazz and you're playing heavy metal.
Right.
And you're bringing those two together. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it didn't exactly, I guess you could say it happened, it wasn't by accident. It was more of like a little selfish on my part. It was, whenever I'm in a band and there's something like power chords, I see it as an opportunity to just kind of go a little further than what people are used to hearing, and then also a big Django fan, so hollow bodies. And then, it's Jeff Beck's birthday, so all roads lead back to Jeff Beck
Right.
with a tremolo bar. So I figure you just mix all those things up, and hopefully one day somebody could say that, yeah, it's Emil.
Right, yeah. One of the cool things is, as you mentioned, power chords, a lot of rock music and metal music is based around that, the root and the fifth.
Yes.
And that leaves it wide open for you to play the chord extensions and to get chromatic and things.
Right. And that's kind of, if I hear this, I kind of wouldn't mind hearing this over it. Over that kind of thing,
Right.
Yeah.
It really gives you a wide open palette that you can then take off in.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that influences both your soloing, songwriting, and pretty much everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I really love when a musician plays through chord changes, even if they're not there.
Right.
It's just, to me, it's the next level above just being able to participate, is being able to manipulate in real time, which is improv,
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. One of the other parts of that, of course, is having great tone. And you've been associated with PRS guitars for a long time. Tell us how that connection came to be.
Well, it's interesting because I've always kind of been more of an in-between or an outlander kind of guy, to where you couldn't really exactly put your finger on my playing, and my relationship with the company in a positive way is similar to where I've been with them since I think 06 or 07. And now, I run the Nashville showroom for artist relations, so I get to see a lot of things there. And I mean, I'm a fan of the guitars, really. That's just all there is to it. And I know I can depend on them to kind of give me what I need when I need it,
Right.
That kind of thing.
You've made some unusual choices in gear over the years for a metal player.
Yeah.
Hollow body guitars, you've got a semi-hollow body here today, and you're not using necessarily high output pickups.
No, well, these are the 8515s, and it's funny because when this came about, you guys asked me, like, what guitar do you want to be? And I was like, let's just try this one. So, why not? And, so the 8515s are a little hotter than what I play. I play the low turns, so the 5815s. And there is a coil tap here, which is all your in-between tones. And I've always been a fan of worrying about my hands more and pushing my hands, and then worrying about pushing the amp or the pedal or the pickups later. So both pickups are home for me. I'm used to them at this point.
Right. And the hollow body thing doesn't scare you at high gain and high volume?
No, it doesn't. And I use a wedge too. And it's interesting because you would think that the threat of feedback, but no, you just got to kind of stay out of the line of fire and.
Right.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Man, demonstrate some sounds for us. Let's hear it.
Let's see. So this is on the neck pickup. There's just a little bit of reverb going through the effects loop here. And then It definitely gets dirty, you know, so here's what it sounds like with no verb and just the bridge pickup. You So it's got a little bit of everything and everything in between.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a very versatile guitar, and so many of Paul's guitars are versatile like that because you can split the single coil and combine the pickups in different ways.
Yeah, and this one is a bolt-on, which is kind of what right now it's what I'm all about because it pops through, it pokes through the mix a lot. It's real kind of pokey.
Right. Yeah. Right. So running the Nashville showroom, are you working on your chicken picking and hybrid picking?
You know, I've thought long and hard about this. There is like a crossroads with Western swing and gypsy jazz.
Ah.
You know, so whereas, a country guy would probably, a resolution like a G7 to a C major. I mean, gypsy jazz guys would probably go and do a tritone sub. So there is a point where they both kind of cry, but I'm not much of a chicken picker. I just pick it all. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, man, watching you play, it's inspired me to go home and practice. I just really appreciate you.
That means a lot coming from you, man. I've been watching you for years.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying so.
Of course.
Cool guitars. Man, you're such a great player. It's been a real pleasure to have you here.
Likewise.
But
likewise.
Not 8 years before you come back.
Yeah,
we
got to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, you're always welcome.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Emil.
Thank you.
All right. Now, next up, we'll hit the road and head down to Indianapolis, where Sweetwater's own keyboard content creator, Jacob Dupre, caught up with War on Drugs and got an exclusive look at the gear they're using on their current tour. Take it away, Jacob.
All right, guys, I'm here with Robbie from War on Drugs. So what have you got going on here?
We have 4 stereo keyboard channels going here. Nord Electro 6 HP 73. Another channel, I have these Prophets, the Prophet 12 and this Rev 2. Which are all over here is kind of like my main workstation right here, and I keep a sort of a sustain pedal for all, and then a sustain pedal for just the Nord alone, just a sustain pedal. And I will, on this Wurlitzer, I will activate all of these pedals all at once at some point in time. My go-tos, I have this Juliana, the Walrus Audio, it's a stereo chorus.
Yeah.
I love this Lex right here.
Now the string ensemble, the thing you've got up there.
Oh yeah.
That is a cool old bird you've got
Yeah.
there. I'm here with Anthony from the War on Drugs. Tell me about your keyboard rig.
I have an ARP Quartet and a Korg Lambda. The Quartet is running through MXR Phase 90, Boss Digital Delay, and this Digitech Reverb, and then also the Maleko Goat Keeper. And they both go DI, they go through volume pedals, and that's it. That's what I work with.
Give us a taste of some of the combinations with the pedals that you might use. All right, I'm here with Eliza from War on Drugs. I want to know a little bit about your rig, about the choices you've made for some of the gear, how this setup works. Just tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I have the Nord stage, which I love. I'm also using the Nord to trigger the SPD. So I have these like X'd off keys where if I play those keys, it will trigger samples, so I know not to play these. So I have the SPD going through the Nord.
Yes.
And then I have like the Nord running through the Eventide Tricera chorus and the Strymon Volante because it makes everything sound better. So the StrikeFet, although it's being sort of MIDI controlled by the Mellotron, it has its own audio channel. The Mellotron and the Juno share an audio, so the Juno was modded to be able to accept an input. So the Mellotron actually runs through the Juno, which means that I can use these amazing Juno choruses and sort of like share a little bit of a signal chain that way. There are moments in the set where there's sort of like what would be maybe a synth solo, but instead of it being just a synth solo, I'm sort of singing that synthesized solo. So I'm triggering this, singing and playing, and sometimes I even have my actual vocal signal completely muted, and all you're
and
hearing,
you're hearing that.
is this. And I
Yeah.
can like add, you know, the Voice Live 3 is great because it has all kinds of like flanchers and phasers and
Effects and
delays
things.
and delays and stuff so that I can make it sound like a straight vocoder.
I'm here with John from War on Drugs. Tell me a bit about your rig.
We'll start with, I guess, the organ setup. Yeah, it's an Electro 3, so I believe in the Electro 4 and beyond, there are physical drawbars on the
Yes.
Nord.
Yes, that's right.
I like the Electro 3, I've always had it. I have my settings in there, my sounds in there. So the organ, actually 3 different outs. There's a DI, which I use for one very specific song where I'm not playing organ, where I have sort of a sample in there, a DX7 sample. So then Leslie is used for most of the organ stuff. And before going to the outputs, the organ goes through these 2 pedals.
Yeah.
This is my favorite fuzz pedal, period. Especially it's my favorite fuzz pedal for keyboards. It's a pedal called the Ionizer. It's basically 4 big muff circuits in one box, and you select through them. And then this is a Flint pedal, Strymon Flint pedal that uses reverb. Both of my keyboards here, the Prophet 6 and the Juno 106, each go through an avalanche run, which is a pedal I love for synths. I don't know, it's reverb and delay combined, and it's great. It's just the perfect reverb and delay, like just all over the place. It's great. Yeah, so the Prophet 6, Juno 106. Juno 106 also goes to the Retrosonic chorus pedal, but I just use that in place of the Roland, of the Juno onboard chorus. This keyboard controls this keyboard. So anytime, I have individual volume pedals if I want to sort of fade one in, but most of the time I'm playing pads that I've kind of built sounds that work together. And it's sort of like this extra lush layer by combining the 2.
Yep. All right, John, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for showing me your rig. Super awesome. Why don't you play us a little bit of something?
Sure.
else?
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff there. Thanks, Jacob. If you'd like to see the complete War on Drugs rig tour and other full videos from here at GearFest 2022, be sure to subscribe to Sweetwater's YouTube channel. We'll be releasing full versions of all our GearFest videos over the next several days. Now, joining me on stage, we have Aaron Marshall. Glad to have you here, man.
Yes.
The talented composer and guitarist behind the progressive metal band Intervals. Intervals was formed in Toronto, Canada in 2011, and since then has released 2 EPs and 4 full-length albums, and has performed on numerous tours throughout North America. It's such a pleasure to have you join us for GearFest 2022.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
For sure.
So checking out the music, I mean, it's a fascinating combination of sort of film score ambient and heavy prog rock.
Yeah.
I'm curious, at this point, do you think of, because of the 2, there's sort of a compositional aspect to both those, do you think of yourself more as a composer these days or more of a guitarist?
I'd say 50-50. Guitar is definitely the comfort zone. But I think, you know, being a modern instrumental guitar player, I think you have to be accountable for being able to, you know, steer the ship on composition.
Right.
And I'm probably more interested in that side of things these days, but with other guitar, I can't make songs.
Right.
So it's half and half.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. One of the things that that I see with people who write with guitar or are playing songs they've written is that either the guitar can drive the compositions or the compositions can drive the guitar as far as improving and finding new things and moving forward. Which way does it work for you?
Yeah, there's a bit of a feedback loop there, a little bit of crosstalk, I'd say. I think in the early days, I was probably more concerned with, you know, insert given technique, or I need to find an excuse to do, you know, this flashy thing or whatever.
Right.
But now it's certainly more so about, I think, like evoking a vibe or an attitude, and that's not necessarily so driven by the guitar. It's just the one that I choose to say things with, or I guess I'm the most comfortable with. But yeah, it's one feeds into the other, and I think that they're, you know, they're equally balanced on the scales, I'd say.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Do you have exercises or ways that you get yourself kind of in the mood or inspired to create on guitar?
Not really. I think less is more. So I like using limitation as a device for creativity, or else you just look at the thing and you just go, you know, what am I going to do?
Right.
Option paralysis ensues pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, sometimes unless there's something that's immediately happening in my mind. I might say, okay, today's challenges are these 3 things, string skipping, and I have to do it in this key or something like that, just like really small parameters, and then work with those limitations and see what I can come up with. Or other times it's more intuitive than that. I have an idea, I hear something, and I want to find it on the guitar or maybe find it on keys. That's the compositional side of things.
Sure.
It's one or the other.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, speaking of guitar,
Yeah.
you're here on behalf of Schecter
Yes.
because you have a new signature guitar with them. Let's take a look at this thing.
Absolutely, yeah. So this was an idea that came to fruition out of early last year, and I got to finally experience these myself on our headline tour at the tail end of 2021. And these are a very purpose-built workhorse. Fairly minimalistic design, but delivers on, I think, what I would say is, kind of like the range of sounds in the modern instrumental guitar player's palette and beyond. Of course, you could certainly use this for a range of things. Very versatile, yeah, basswood body, Wenge neck, ebony fingerboard, and some really dialed-in pickups that I worked on with the Schecter USA Custom Shop, and Japanese Goto hardware, hipshot tuners. Pretty much the task was, can we max out an import build to make the ultimate sort of modern workhorse? Right. And we've done that. We have a 6-string here, and we have a 7-string as well. That's an additional inch in length, so it's 26.5 with a fixed bridge, and they come in these 2 beautiful Pantones that I carefully selected for these guitars, and I'm really proud of them.
They are beautiful, beautiful instruments. But there's more to just the looks of a guitar. Will you play for us? Let's hear what they sound like.
Yeah, sure. There's a bunch of sounds in these guitars. Let's get a little gain on that. Super aggressive, but also really dynamic as well. I kind of demand a lot in the music, so I have to be able to do everything from edge of breakup to the more aggressive stuff. And yeah, they haven't let me down yet. So yeah.
Right. One of the challenges with pickups that are dialed in like that is making sure you keep the articulation while still getting the full body and the richness out of them. And really sounds like you've achieved that.
Absolutely, yeah. And the Schecter USA Custom Shop did an amazing job on these. This is actually only we did 3 iterations and we nailed it. And I think they're going to be a pleasant surprise for a lot of people, especially guys who use modelers or things of that nature. There's so many places in the signal chain to influence the signal. I'm trying not to have it all happening at the level of the pickup. So they're moderate output for sure, really gratifying feel in the hands, carefully selecting magnets between both pickups to get that really good split sound that doesn't take your head off. You know what I mean? It's not too spiky or anything crazy like that, and a nice broad, balanced mid-range. And the neck pickup's kind of got that nice pucker on it. It's almost single coil like, pretty much as many sounds as you could possibly imagine across a 5-way. So that was the goal. We definitely did it. So yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, really excited.
New music on the way?
That's for the rest of this year, yeah.
Nice.
And some other exciting things as well.
Right.
Some products and some new music. Yeah, really excited.
Right, well, we'll look forward to that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining us here today, man. It's been such a pleasure to have you here at GearFest 2022, and a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, you as well. Sweetwater is incredible. I've had my mind blown the last couple of days, so thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Please come back soon.
I will.
All right.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, every year at GearFest, we give away an incredible amount of fantastic gear to lucky winners, and this year is no different. In just a short while, we'll be giving away a massive home studio package and more cool gear. But remember, to win, you have to stay tuned in to this live stream. I'll be coming at you later in the show with complete details for how you could be the winner of today's big prizes. So don't go anywhere. The GearFest 2022 Day 1 giveaway is almost here. Now, coming up next, we have a clip from our good friends at Little Kids Rock. Little Kids Rock is a wonderful organization that encourages kids to get into making music, provides instruments to schools, offers lessons and lesson plans, and more. We all know that school music and arts budgets continue to be cut, so the work that Little Kids Rock is doing is more vitally important than ever. Take a look at this clip to learn more about how Little Kids Rock is transforming the lives of kids by introducing them to music making.
I believe music is like a great gift.
To me, music is life.
I believe that music is a miracle worker.
It's a lament we've heard from educators for a long time. A lot of schools around the country making cuts to the arts, specifically music classes. But the Sarasota County School District is expanding theirs.
Modern Band is a national program offered by an organization called Little Kids Rock.
Kids lucky enough to get music lessons perform tonight so that thousands of others may do the same.
A metro school will be rocking out this next year thanks to a national nonprofit.
There's this organization called Little Kids Rock.
Little Kids Rock. Little Kids Rock.
Little Kids Rock.
Little Kids Rock is an organization that uses music to transform children's lives, to put them in touch with their creative sides, and to make a lifelong positive impact that will go with them anywhere and everywhere they go. Every day, thousands of teachers in cities across America are going into school through Little Kids Rock to transform children's lives through music.
They give us curriculum, they give us ideas to use in the school, and they support us with lots of instruments.
Every student and every teacher that has come through and learned the program has raved about it because it's immediately accessible. Kids love to play music of their own generation, and teachers love to have students succeed immediately.
Modern Band serves a niche in today's world that isn't covered elsewhere.
I think Modern Band can only get bigger at the collegiate level. I think it's important that it does. But I think this is the future of where we're going. We've got to expand. We've got to adapt.
The research is showing that strong music program, Modern Band, increases your academic performance.
I was always the shy girl, and you know, Little Kids Rock has shown me to be fearless and not to be afraid of anything, because I was always afraid to say something wrong, because I was in the world of perfection.
And now you know you can make mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah.
Charlie Puth was coming into town to perform at House of Blues, and he wanted to visit a Little Kids Rock school.
Playing with like one of my idols is like one of my dreams, and Little Kids Rock gave me the opportunity to do that.
I mean, what if we had like, I don't know, like maybe the person who wrote the song perform that with us? Wouldn't that be amazing? Like,
The future of our world lies in our children's creativity. It's our children's creativity that is going to solve all of the world's most difficult, challenging problems. Music is one of life's great ephemeral treasures. You can't touch it, but it can touch you.
Music is super important for kids. It gives them an outlet. It gives us a way to express ourselves. And I make music every day still at this point. And it's the inner child in me that allows me to keep making that music. So teach these kids, keep programs like this alive, and keep doing what y'all doing. I love you guys and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Nice to see you.
Welcome back. Today we're going to discuss in our daily lesson a little bit more of recording.
Today we are going to be doing some body drumming.
And today we are going to cover Give Me a Word.
Important to me, especially right now, because even though the whole world is going through these tough times, you can feel stories of other people while they sing and express themselves through their music.
It's important to me because I've learned to appreciate it even more during this hard time we are currently living in. It is my window to the outside world.
Without music, our world would be very chaotic.
People all around the world have their own type of music. But the major thing about it is that people can actually relate through different kind of music.
Everybody finds their way, I feel like, through music. Everybody has that one song that explains them.
Growing up around this neighborhood, you know, hope tends to die out on you a lot. Music makes me feel like I have hope.
Sweetwater is so proud to support Little Kids Rock. We want to ensure that future generations have access to incredible musical opportunities. We know how important music is for the lives of today's kids. Now, I'm joined on stage by Melissa Mister, the Chief Program Officer for Little Kids Rock. Melissa, it's great to have you here at GearFest 2022.
Thank you so much for having me, Mitch.
Yeah, you made the trip down from Chicago.
I did. Quick little short drive.
Yeah, not too bad, right?
No worries.
Not too bad. So Little Kids Rock dates back to 2002.
That's correct.
David Wish, the founder, was an elementary school teacher.
Yes.
And he played some instruments. How did that evolve into Little Kids Rock?
So first of all, I have to say that Dave is crushed that he couldn't be here today, but I promised him I'd hold the fort down.
We appreciate that.
Basically, I'm glad you mentioned 20 years. It is the 20th anniversary of Little Kids Rock, and in the last 20 years, Little Kids Rock has brought the transformative gift of music education to over 1.2 million kids in 600 cities across 48 states. So from that humble beginning, we're now at this point of really serving a large number of kids across the country.
That is absolutely incredible. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do. How do you get music into the lives of kids?
Yeah. So I have to say we have an amazing community of teachers, including some right here in Fort Wayne. So I was with a group of Fort Wayne teachers last night. There are 28 Little Kids Rock programs in Fort Wayne that are just thriving and serving close to 7,000 kids overall here. But what we do is we support teachers by providing training, and the training teaches them equips them to teach kids how to play popular music, the music that they love, and the full range of music that they love. And sometimes it's that teachers don't have the background or the instruments to be able to teach popular music, and that's where we come in.
I see, right. So you mentioned teens and all kids. Is there an age limit, or do you work with certain groups of kids?
So we work with young people all the way through elementary through high school.
Nice.
Yeah, full range, yeah.
And do you have programs that how are the programs expanding these days?
Right, so that we're looking to expand and to grow and to reach even more young people to get to where we're serving 2 million young people, because we do know that music education is so critical. We know that it's not just critical for young people to build their music skills and to develop musically, but just their youth development generally is impacted positively by music education. So it's a means for expression, it's a means to build community, it's a means to build confidence, and I could go on and on. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's so important. So to reach 2 million, to reach 3 million, to make sure that all young people have access to music education is critically important.
Right. I've had the pleasure of seeing a number of Little Kids Rock's performances at NAMM shows and at different events and things, and man, kids are scary good.
They rock, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the name, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for the great work you guys are doing. I mean, Little Kids Rock's a fantastic organization. We're so happy to be associated with you, and we're so grateful you made the trip down to see us today.
Absolutely, thank you. And if I can just say thanks to Sweetwater so much. All of Little Kids Rock's instruments come from Sweetwater, and Sweetwater provides our teachers and our schools with the same great customer service that they provide to all of its customers, and we just are incredibly grateful for that and for all of the other support, from the donations at checkout to the other gifts. It's incredibly important, and we remain really grateful for all of it.
Well, thank you for saying so. It's our pleasure. What a great cause to support.
Thank you.
Thanks again for being here.
Take care, Mitch.
Okay, the time that many of you have been waiting for is upon us. It's time for the GearFest 2022 Day 1 giveaways. First up, we have our massive home studio collection giveaway. If you're the lucky winner of the home studio collection giveaway, you'll take home a complete studio setup. You'll be making music right out of the box. The home studio collection is based around an Apollo Twin X Duo Heritage Edition audio interface from Universal Audio, as well as PreSonus Studio One Pro 5 software. You'll also receive a set of Kali Audio LP6 monitors, a PreSonus FaderPort 8 control surface, Sennheiser HD400 headphones, an Electrovoice RE20 microphone, Nectar Impact LX49 Plus MIDI controller, a Gator Frameworks broadcast boom arm and studio monitor stands, and even a Hercules headphone hanger. The home studio collection package really is your chance to win a complete studio. To win, just be the 21st person to call 260-264-8240. I mean, that's how easy it is. You could be the winner of Sweetwater's home studio collection just by calling 260-264-8240 now to see if you're lucky number 21. Good luck. But we're not stopping there. In addition to the home studio collection package, we're also partnering with our friends at Dunlop and Way Huge to give you 2 chances to win signed guitar pedals. We're giving away 1 signed by Joe Bonamassa and 1 signed by Eric Johnson. Head over to @Sweetwater Sound at Instagram for your chance to win. We've got personal messages for you from Joe and Eric. Check this out.
Hey guys, Joe Bonamassa here at the legendary Sunset Sound Studios in beautiful sunny Los Angeles, California. And I have here a Penny Saver Royale that someone's gonna win. And these are great pedals. I'm gonna set it the way I use it. I hope everybody has a great GearFest in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the wonderful Sweetwater facility. And yeah, I'm gonna sign it right now. Here we go. Probably gonna make it worth a lot less by doing it, but whatever. There you go, 1 signed Penny Saver Royale.
It's Eric here, and I want to wish everybody a happy Sweetwater Online GearFest 2022. And someone is going to get to win one of these EJ Gold Fuzz Faces. And I hope you like it. Okay, have a good one.
Now I'd like to welcome our own drummer extraordinaire, Nick DiVirgilio, to the stage. And before we even get started, I want to congratulate Nick for being nominated in the Best Prog Rock Drummer category in Modern Drummer Magazine's annual Readers Poll. It's a well-deserved honor, and man, we're just so proud to be associated with you, man.
Wow, geez, thanks so much for saying so. I didn't realize you were going to mention that. It's really cool, and it is a huge honor to be on that list because the other drummers on that list are amazing in the whole Readers Poll, so I'm kind of over the moon about the whole thing.
And I actually know you, so I am.
Thanks, Mitch.
It's so cool, man.
No, I appreciate it.
It is so cool.
Thank you, man.
So you had a chance to sit down with another incredible drummer, Mike Mangini from Dream Theater.
He's on the same list that I am, and I've been listening to Mike's drumming for a long time. He's a great guy, an incredible player, a real student of the craft. He's an educator as well as being in Dream Theater and all the other bands he's played in. And we sat down to talk about his drumming and Shure microphones to find out why he loves Shure so much.
Right, so he did some playing as well. Did you guys play together?
We didn't play together. I just sat next to his drum set while he just did an impromptu jam that was mind-blowing.
Nice.
It was very cool.
Let's check out the interview.
All right, thanks.
How's it going, everybody? Hanging out in Sweetwater Studio A with Mike Mangini. Today, we're here to talk about microphones and your drums and Shure, to be specific. What is it about Shure that gets you the sound you need?
What Shure has done since the get-go has made the mics, first of all, durable and consistent, so that as a traveling musician in different situations I was in, especially when I first signed with them, doing drum clinics all the time. You know, you just show up and play the gigs, traveling with bands. If something happens, if there's a breakdown of some kind, you know, you need to have that gear be interchangeable, consistent, and it's hugely important because once you get used to how something works, you get used to how it works, and if something comes in that's not quite right, it's a problem. And that's no problem with the Shure gear.
I know your drum set's a little bit different than you normally play as far as the sizes and setup, but how different is the microphones that we have around your kit here today?
The main difference would be with the toms. These are the Beta 181s, and I have been using the Beta 98s, the little, you know, mics you can put anywhere, which is amazing that they have the sound that they sound, but I still use them. They were the first ones that I used, and they're on basically every record that I've done. Today, we're going with these. They sound amazing. It's like, oh, may I have 45 of those, please? So these offer pretty tremendous balance. The KSM 137s, the spot mics for the metal, those are the same. The KSM 32s are the same, although we have them on the toms today. So this is a mix of microphones on the tom-toms, and it's offering fantastic balance. It finally, like the kick drum, that's the typical setup. The 91 inside for the attack, the Beta 52 for a little more of the oomph, and there's a 44, if I could say it in Bostonian, KSM 44 on the front head.
Nice. How big is your touring kit, typically? I know it changes from tour to tour, but roughly.
Well, marching bands get jealous about how many drums I have, right? As far as how large it is and everything, it's just basically in modules where I've gone from 4 kick drums down to 1. Well, I like the different tones. The big, why not? The big 26,
sure.
18. I mean, I was enjoying Dream Theater. Why can't I have those different tonal qualities and things? So I'm down to 1. And the tom-toms, you know, basically, if the music is hitting low notes and big loud hits. A little drum that sounds like a chihuahua barking is not going to work.
Right.
Like boop, no. So the touring kit is a few higher drums, but not all the little baby drums, the tiny ones, because I have the I call them the tube drums, but the Cannon Toms by Pearl, to take care of that tonal range. So basically the kits, even though they're smaller, like they were on my last record, our last record, excuse me, A View from the Top of the World, that had one tom-tom, just one. And I'm actually, with my live kit, I only have, I have two, sorry. I have the 12 and a 14. So I've dumbed it down, but the range is still there, and that's what I want to translate, where the microphones come in. I have the range from very high drums and very low drums. So even though I don't have a lot of them in the middle, I can still access those tones. When the musicians play high notes, I play higher. They play big low notes, I play lower.
And Shure is recreating those sounds out the PA or on the record just like you want them, like you're hearing them in your head.
At the end of the day, to listen to what we're doing here today, is Shure, in essence, is capturing what it is that I'm trying to do back here. And it's allowing me to communicate that to people.
Venable band, everybody. So, like, if you guys want to follow me around, that could be like my theme song everywhere I go. You could just, yeah, maybe not. It's great to have you guys here. It sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. So, Allie, introduce us to the band.
Yeah, so it's just three of us. Braden Stubbs on the bass, Isaac Polito on the drums, and my name is Allie Venable, and we're all from Texas, and we're the Allie Venable Band.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So is it true that your first album, you did it when you were 14 years old?
I don't know if I was 14, but I was pretty young when I did my first album, or when I put one out and wrote the songs. And I've been making music ever since. I sang when I was in church when I was real little, and I picked up the guitar when I was about 12, and now I'm here.
And here you are, yeah. So what got you into the blues at an early age?
Well, what got me into playing blues music and guitar music was discovering who Stevie Ray Vaughan was.
Right, right. And you've had a chance to hang around with some blues legends. You were actually on tour with Buddy Guy, weren't you?
Yes, that was amazing, getting to tour with Buddy. Not only that, but also getting to play with him on stage was a dream. It was several nights I've been able to do that, and it's, you know, he's one of the OGs of blues music, so it's really cool to be in that world and to be with him on stage.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Did you get a chance to, I know he's real big on fostering the blues with younger generations. Did you get a chance to sit down and talk with him about it?
I actually have been able on different occasions to talk with him and hang with him before and after the shows, which has been, again, a dream to be able to do that. And I'm just very grateful that, you know, I get to be in his world for a little bit.
Right, right, absolutely. Well, we want to be sure we let everybody know your new album is Heart of Fire, and you are on tour with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. You guys were just here a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, we opened for Kenny at the Pavilion here at Sweetwater, which was awesome. It was very hot, but it was cool. It was, or not cool. It was really fun to do. It was really fun to do, and an honor again to get to tour with Kenny. And it's really cool that all of my guitar heroes that I have looked up to since I first started playing guitar are now becoming my friends, and they're all very supportive, like you said, of up-and-coming musicians and guitar players, especially with blues music. So it's been a real treat to get to do all of that.
That's so great. Well, you're going to play a song for us, and Kenny actually played on this song in your album, right?
Yes, so Kenny actually played on this song that we're about to play for you guys on my Heart of Fire album. It's called Bring On the Pain.
Let's hear it.
Stop to think about if we will ever work it out. Sometimes it feels like it's all too late. Every time we try to make amends, we found ourselves falling back again. Maybe someday we'll find a way. I know what's best for me. No matter what's going on, my love won't change. Bring on the pain.
Coming up, we have a clip from my recent interview with Andreas Sennheiser. Andreas, along with his brother Daniel, co-leads the Sennheiser family of brands, which also includes Neumann, Dear Reality, and Ambio. Sennheiser was originally founded in 1945 by the brothers' grandfather, Professor Fritz Sennheiser. So Andreas and Daniel are the third generation from the Sennheiser family to lead the company in its more than 75-year history. In this clip, I chatted with Andreas about how Sennheiser is moving into the future and striving to stay one step ahead of where technology and the industry are going by looking ahead and focusing on innovation. Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Welcome to GearFest 2022. We have a special guest joining us here. Andreas Sennheiser is here from Sennheiser. It's great to have you back.
Thank you, Mitch. It's a really pleasure to be part of the GearFest again, and really looking forward to the interview.
The motto of the company is the future of audio. Talk a little bit about that, what that means when you say that with regard to your company.
The future of audio for us is more like the red thread from the inception of the company in 1945 until now, and also the red thread for going forward. Because over the decades, we've seen so many things changing, that being technology changing, being listening and also recording styles and taste changing. So we've seen a lot of new formats, 3D audio coming up. Now in the pandemic, we've seen the hybrid thing. So it's like our future of audio narrative or thinking is more like we want to be always one step ahead of what's currently there. So we want to think what comes next, and what comes next could be new technologies, could be new use cases, could be just a piece of software that helps everyone ease their workflows. So it's really being rooted in the industry and knowing what our customers need, and at the same time thinking a couple of years ahead. On the one hand, we live in a high-tech world, so we produce gear which is on the edge of what's physically doable. On the other hand, we're doing this in a world that is highly emotional and artistic and to some extent also crazy and difficult to understand, and with a lot of musicians in the company. So if you lock up 10 people from Sennheiser in one room, you have a band, irrespective of the area where you take them from. So there's a lot of talented musicians here at Sennheiser. So, and that's why I think we can really connect to our customers, to the end users, because most of our employees know what it means to be on a stage and to struggle with gear that may or may not work so well. So, and I think that's really the secret sauce of the passion of everyone at Sennheiser and at Neumann to really bring everything that they can to make greater products and greater services.
Right. Well, I think that sums it up so well. I love that passion and that love for music and audio. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today. It's been such a pleasure to have you back here at GearFest with us.
Thank you, Mitch. It was really my pleasure, and looking forward to meeting you again.
Live stream so far. Please stick around. We've got tons more great things on the way. Right now, we've got brand new gear for you to check out, courtesy of our friends at Akai. To tell us all about it, we've got Andy Mack. Andy, it's great to see you, man.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Thanks for coming in all the way from the UK.
Yeah.
Long trip, but we're so glad you're here at GearFest with us.
Definitely worth it. So yesterday we released a brand new MPC Key 61.
Yes.
And pretty much the internet went wild over this. It's been a phenomenal launch for us. And the great thing about this really is a whole 360 for the MPC platform, because when you think back in the day, when people were using the 60s and the 3000s and that, they were using them with sound modules and keyboards, and some of the biggest records were made from them. So to bring this into an all-in-one production synthesizer, but having the tools that you would only have in a computer, with incredible sounds, powerful sampling and the sequencing, for us it's a phenomenal, because we're moving into new categories of the brand as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, man, give us a tour of what this thing can do.
So what I'm going to do, let's make a track. All right. So what I'm going to do, we're going to start with some drums. So I'm going to hit record. Basic groove going out, and then what we'll do, we'll put some vocal chops over the top. So we've got our beat going now. So what we do, we flip into some sounds now, turn our metronome off, and then we can find like a pocket for a loop. And once you've found something you like, done. Then we can go into, we'll go to some plucks. Now we can lay our bass down. I'll keep it record. And now we can finish it off with some lead sounds. We can do our pad muse. And then we've got our touch strip where we can do live effects as well. And so that's what we can do in a few minutes.
Man, that is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Of course, you're a phenomenal musician, but still the workflow that this provides is really fantastic.
Well, the thing is, the workflow really hasn't changed. The sequencer is so powerful. And, you know, when you go into the sequencer, you've got all of, like, you know, your drum grids, a lot of things that you're familiar with. But it's having the powerful sampling, the sounds at your fingertips, and just the integration. It's a phenomenal piece for us. It really is.
Yeah, and that's evidenced by the way, like you said, the internet lit up when you guys announced this thing. I mean, everybody's just so excited to get their hands on it. Congratulations.
It's been a pleasure coming down here.
Yeah, thanks for making the trip again from the UK to come to GearFest 2020. I think you have the award for coming the farthest for this
it was
this
a long
year's show.
trip.
Yeah.
Trust me, it was the connecting flight. It was the connecting
that's always
flight.
what gets you, right? It's great to see you.
Cool, man.
Thanks for coming in. Congratulations again on this.
Thank you.
All right. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our next guest. This is my good friend David Stewart, Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer for Sweetwater. David and I go way back to the very early days of Sweetwater when we started as two of the earliest sales engineers. David, thanks for being here today. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Well, I get to see you every day, but it's just great to see you here.
That's fantastic. We don't get to see each other under these lights all the time.
That is very, very true.
Yeah, so it's nice.
So you've been here, what, 30 years?
Yeah, just past 30 years here at Sweetwater. What a amazing journey it's been, from 20 employees to over 2,000 now, and all those years. It's just been such an honor to serve our great customers all that time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So along the way, as you'd expect over a period of time like that, and with musicians and artists and everything that goes on, there's some stories that have come out of the decades, if you will.
There are. You know, one day I'll probably write a book about it or something, or a blog. Yeah, it's interesting. There are tons of stories, and then, you know, we've got this Rodeo Games segment coming up, which in some small way was inspired by one of the stories. I can just remember back in the day when we, it was in the mid, I guess, 90s, and most studios, most people still recorded on some kind of tape at that time. And this really kind of new software was coming out, pretty innovative. There was a little bit of buzz around it called Pro Tools. And so we used to go around and do seminars around really the whole eastern half of the United States, helping people understand, you know, what recording inside of a computer looks like and how to recreate a studio inside of a computer and all of that. And it was quite an undertaking. So we had to pile a lot of equipment into a van or a truck. And back then it was, you know, huge CRT 21-inch monitors and road cases, and these old Quadra 950 huge Macintosh computers with DSP cards in them and everything, and studio monitors, and just keyboard, on and on. Just a big bunch of gear to take around. And And I just remember this one time we were trying to go somewhere, debating what time to leave, and a literal argument broke out about what time should we leave and what are all the steps we need to do to get there on time. And one of those steps, of course, was loading the van with all of this equipment. And a big debate. Finally, the person in charge declared, well, I can load that van in 7 minutes, and which we all thought was outlandish, including me, because I mean I've been on the road for years and years, and I definitely know what it's like to load band trucks and stuff. But anyway, the rest is history, and we all survived that. And so here we are. We're going to have this Rodeo Games in one of the segments. I guess we're going to find out how long it indeed does take to load a van, which should be pretty interesting. And how cool is it that we get to honor the unsung heroes of the touring industry, these road crews that are out there just working so hard at all hours. I really love that about it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. It's true that a band's techs and roadies really are the unsung heroes behind so many amazing tours, concerts, and performances. And it's stories like the one that David just told about loading a van that inspired us to think about a brand new feature here at GearFest. As David said, we call it the Rodeo Games. Now, for the Rodeo Games, 2 teams with 4 content creators on each team squared off. They face challenges like mic stand, shuttle runs, speed tuning guitars, protecting an artist from water bottles coming out of the crowd. And that actually featured a life-size cutout of our house band tomorrow, Jared James Nichols playing guitar, no less. They tried to get picks out of an acoustic guitar. And in one of the final Rodeo Games relay events, we're going to go back to that original inspiration, and they raced to see who could pack gear in a van the fastest. The winners get trophies and the losers don't. Here are some highlights from the Rodeo Games. Subscribe to Sweetwater's YouTube channel to see the full video.
Rodeo Games. Rodeo Games. Rodeo Games.
Hello, fellow gearheads, and welcome to the very first Rodeo Games. I'm Willie G. Alongside me here is my co-host, Mr. Nick Boca.
2 teams, 5 competitions. Let's meet our contestants, shall we?
Have you been working out in preparation?
No.
Are you feeling a bit overconfident?
Yes.
Let's see, Hi-E. You're out.
Oh, he's moving. Look at that boy go.
Who will be crowned champion? Find out at the Rodeo Games.
You may not know that Sweetwater was actually founded as a recording studio more than 40 years ago. In fact, we started out as a mobile recording service operating out of the back of a VW bus. Sweetwater's founder, Chuck Surak, would pull his VW bus up outside a high school or a local club. He'd run cables inside and he'd record the performances onto a 4-track reel-to-reel analog tape recorder. Then he'd take those tracks back to his mobile home and mix them down in his living room. He eventually built a more permanent studio in his house and began doing album projects, radio and TV ads, and more. Along the way, he also began selling gear to his friends. Now, those friends included musicians like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton and Stevie Wonder. And that's really the backstory on how Sweetwater was founded. Over the years, Sweetwater Studios has continued to grow right alongside the gear retail side of our company. And the studios remain an integral part of what we do here. Sweetwater Studios were designed by renowned acoustician Russ Berger. We've got 3 state-of-the-art rooms and a full staff of engineers and producers, along with an in-house team of stellar session musicians who can bring any project to life, no matter how big, no matter how small. And as you can imagine, we are Sweetwater after all. The selection of gear we have in our 3 rooms is absolutely incredible. From our massive collection of microphones to our incredible locker of drums and drum sets, to a huge collection of amps, pedals, and guitars, to both new and vintage keyboards of all types. And that's to say nothing of studio preamps, processors, plugins, consoles, and more. Now recently, we updated Sweetwater Studio A with a brand new Rupert Neve Designs 5088 console. We also did a massive renovation to Studio B. We converted it to a cutting-edge Atmos room featuring a top-of-the-line monitoring system from our friends at PMC. The room was then completely calibrated to meet the Dolby Atmos spec. And now not only are we mixing projects for release in Atmos formats in Sweetwater Studios, but we've even started doing projects where the tracks are recorded with multiple microphones that are aimed specifically at immersive sound mixed down in production. But what is Atmos? It's one of those terms that we've all heard but may not completely understand. Atmos is a format that's designed to really immerse the listener in a three-dimensional field of sound covering front to back, side to side, as well as up and down. Now initially it was adopted mainly for film and video work, but in the past few years we've seen a big push into creating Atmos mixes for music as well. The Atmos format can scale to different sizes and can even work in headphones and earbuds. But in most studios, the systems we see consist of a left, right, and center speaker in front of the listener, 2 side speakers on the left and right of the listener, and 2 rear speakers behind the listener. Then we also have 2 or 4 speakers overhead for the height dimension. And we've got 1 or more subwoofers included for low frequency effects and extended bottom end response. I had a chance to sit down with 2 mix engineers who've been working extensively on Atmos mixes and who came by to check out Sweetwater's new Studio B Atmos room. First, I chatted with legendary mixer Bob Clearmountain, and then I sat down with rising star Mike Miller, who's so busy mixing Atmos that he has not 1, but 2 Atmos studios in Los Angeles and a 3rd in New York. Here are some excerpts from our conversations about Atmos. What is Atmos as far as the music side of things?
Well, it's more speakers. I mean, basically. You know, Atmos is designed for movies, basically. Dolby came up, it's a brilliant system because it's scalable. It's not dependent on how many speakers you have. It's designed for different size movie theaters.
The fact that the way that I like to hear music is easier to accomplish in a much larger scale like this. So.
And the artists have been feeling that way too. You know, they come to the room and some of them are getting teary-eyed. They're saying, how do I go back to 2 speakers after this?
Right. It's a little different. Well, it's quite a bit different for music because they started pushing it to the labels and the streaming services. Because most of what we do, we don't have jet planes or helicopters and rockets going by, which is kind of, we don't have Iron Man flying around. At least
not yet.
Not yet. As much as I try to get my artists to give me more helicopters, where are the helicopters? It's mainly music,
right.
And so it's more static, and it's more like 5.1 with more speakers. You know, now we have side speakers and speakers in the ceiling.
It allows you so that you can pan the main source anywhere you want in the room, but still have it being featured in around you. Right. So you don't lose it, like if you want to pan something farther back or farther, whatever way, you don't lose it in a different part of the room. So it still feels like no matter what, you're getting it all around you.
But it's fun. For me, I really like it because I'll put a quad ambience in the ceiling. Instead of having all the guitars in the front, I'll stick some guitars in the side speakers and keyboards in the back, or maybe if there's strings and horns, I can stretch it around the sides, and there's all kinds of fun ways of doing it. And I'm still learning about it. I'm still discovering stuff, which is the part that I like so much, because it gives me all these more options to try stuff, and people ask me, well, what's the way you're supposed to do it? Well, there is no way you're supposed to do it. Just try things and see what works.
Yeah, it's kind of an open 3D palette for you just to paint the audio on. How's that for a metaphor, to paint the audio on?
Yeah, right, it really is. And every mixer has their own vision, every producer and artist, they have their own ideas of what to do, and that's one of the things that makes it so interesting, because everybody's got a different approach, which I love that part of it.
Right.
In general, this is, in my opinion, the next step forward in music. And it's, like I said, it's just the beginning. And I think that having the artists and the producers in is what is going to drive it even more forward, because it's their vision coming to life on a bigger scale as well, you know.
Right.
So.
Don't go anywhere. We've got still more GearFest 2022 to go here on day one. And don't forget, there are tons of special sales and gear deals available at Sweetwater.com. Look for the special badges and tags that'll lead you to thousands of deals with as much as 60% off prices. Plus, our little secret again, just between you and me, you can reach out directly to your Sweetwater sales engineer to learn about even more unlisted deals. And we've also got great financing offers available. GearFest is one of the best times of the year for buying gear. Up next, we've got two back-to-back features for you to check out. First, drummer Jay Weinberg is going to give us a rundown of the incredible drum kit he uses live on stage with Slipknot. Immediately following Jay, we're going to jump into a performance recorded live in Sweetwater Studio A by the Cock Marshall Trio, featuring the incredible Greg Cock on lead guitar. Here we go.
Hey, my name is Jay Weinberg. I play drums in the band Slipknot, and today I'm here to give you my rig rundown. I'm here to give you guys a little bit of a rig rundown of the kit that we're using on our 2022 North American Knotfest Roadshow. So this is a brand new drum set from SJC Custom Drums. It's awesome to have the opportunity to do all the artwork on my own drums. That was one thing with SJC that I've always really appreciated, is their ability to, you know, take whatever idea I have in my head, and I know that they'll take care of the actual manufacturing and stuff. As long as we can make it look rad, they'll take care of it sounding awesome, and I'm super, super appreciative and thankful for not only our relationship, but what they can actually physically do. It's amazing. Basically, Mike from SJC and I were talking, like, what would it be like to create a drum set like if Ringo Starr was playing drums for Slipknot? That's kind of the jumping off point we had. This is a 22 by 14 inch kick drum. Both of them are. I like them a little bit shallower. It was something that I started experimenting with a couple years ago. We have a, let me check the dimensions here, a 7 by 10, an 8 by 12, and an 8 by 13 maple shell. And these all have reinforcement rings. I believe they're 5-ply with 7-ply reinforcement rings. We have a 16 by 16 floor tom and a 16 by 18 floor tom. Something that we started experimenting with a couple years ago, we started miking my drums from the inside, which allows not only a little bit more mobility on the cymbals, where I don't have to worry about this cymbal smashing onto a microphone here, or really just working, you know, not only physically bashing it, but getting cymbal bleed in those mics. So what we're able to do is mic everything internally and externally here, so we get a good blend there, just because there's not much cymbal stuff happening here. But this allows us to get a really clean, defined, bombastic tone out of the toms without worrying about cymbal bleed and stuff like that, so they can really have a field day with it in front of house and not worrying about like too many shrill noises from cymbals and stuff. When you're really trying to mix this tom, you have this cymbal so close to it, they can kind of blend into each other. So having that separation of miking things internally really does help. We've got my new SJC signature snare drum, the Crucible, which is an awesome brass drum that's a little bit different from what we've done before. And I like this one because it's more reflective of the snares that I have used in the studio on Slipknot recordings and stuff. I use a lot of metal snares when we're recording in the studio, and this one sits awesome in the mix. Total pleasure to design and come up with this idea with SJC Custom Drums. Moving on to the cymbals that we've got going on here. A lot of the labels have worn off, so actually I'm not sure what some of these are, but I know this is a pair of 14-inch A Custom hi-hats. This, I believe, is an 8-inch Rezo Splash. Here is an 18-inch ultra hammered China cymbal, which I have mirrored over here. Same thing with my 20-inch A Custom crashes. So you've got the Rezo Splash here, the Hybrid Splash here, the Oriental China, which is awesome. It's kind of like a flash cymbal. You know, it's not as long-lasting of a decay as the ultra hammered, but having this one is really, really rad. Just kind of a little splash of sound. No pun intended. A Zildjian EFX bell. Like I said, another 20-inch A Custom crash. This is one of my favorite cymbals, pretty much of all time. This 22-inch S Rock Ride has been on every tour since 2019, possibly even earlier, and for sure the last 2 Slipknot records. These are my signature 908 Vader drumsticks that I had a blast designing with Vader. It's a relatively quick taper and a barrel tip with a little bit more length than you might be used to, of like a 5V or something like that. We've got a pair of 13-inch A Custom hi-hats and a 22-inch Crash of Doom. Very, very doomy, big open downbeats. I often love to karate chop it all the way over here. This kit has all DW pedals and hardware, a giant rack system, as you can see, DW 9000 single pedals, and a DW 9000 hi-hat. Tons of GoPros that will be mounted throughout the performance. This is my rig. This has been my rig rundown. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope we'll see you on tour sometime soon.
I can't believe it, but that actually brings us to the end of our live stream programming for day one of GearFest 2022. I mean, man, the time has flown by. I feel like I'm just getting going here. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. Some of my favorite things include the rig tours we saw with incredible musicians like Jay Weinberg and War on Drugs. There was Nick DiVirgilio's interview with Mike Mangini from Dream Theater. And I really enjoyed having a chance to check out all the cool things that Little Kids Rock is doing so that the next generation of music makers, so they have the instruments and lessons they need to begin a lifetime of making music. It's just so important to ensure that kids are discovering the joys of making music. For me personally, it was a treat to get to spend time with Emil Werstler and Aaron Marshall, and man, interviewing Buddy Guy, I mean, what a thrill. That was one of those things I just never imagined I'd get to do in my life, and what an amazing experience, and what a great day here at GearFest. But remember, the day one live stream from GearFest may be wrapping up, but you'll soon be able to check out full-length videos of all the clips we saw today. Be sure to subscribe to Sweetwater's YouTube channel to see all the full videos from GearFest. And don't forget to look for hashtag GearFest on all your favorite social media platforms. That tag will take you to tons of additional GearFest content we'll be posting, as well as to videos created by the nearly 36 content creators who are here on our campus in Fort Wayne this week. The huge GearFest sale also continues. Even though the live stream is ending, click over to Sweetwater.com to see all the exciting deals and talk directly to your Sweetwater sales engineer about additional sales and specials you may not see listed on site. It's a great weekend to pick up the gear you want and need for your studio or live rig. It's true, day one live stream is ending, but we're not even halfway through GearFest 2022. Please tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for day two of our 2022 GearFest live stream. We'll have guitarist and content creator Rob Scallon here. Nick DiVirgilio will be back with us with his interview with genre-bending drummer JoJo Mayer. And I'll be sitting down with Jason Richardson from All That Remains. We'll also take a look at the amazing all-new Oberheim OBX8 with keyboardist and producer J3PO. Plus, we'll be debuting a new music video with Elise Tro that was shot right here at Sweetwater. Shavo Adagian from System of a Down will be here, and believe it or not, that list just scratches the surface of everything that's happening tomorrow. You don't want to miss a minute of day two at GearFest 2022. Two more things I need to mention. Of course, we'll be giving away a ton of cool free gear to lucky winners tomorrow, so keep watching. You could win big. And our house band tomorrow will be blues rocker Jared James Nichols. It's going to be a blast. Now, speaking of house bands, we have to give it up to Allie Venable and her band. Fantastic job, guys. I've been listening to vibrato. I'm going to go home and practice. So that's just awesome. We really appreciate you coming in and providing music for us. Be sure to look for Allie on tour with Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and definitely check out her latest album, Heart of Fire. Thanks again, Allie. Before we let Allie play us out, thanks to all the artists, manufacturers, and content creators who participated in GearFest 2022 with us. And a huge shout out to the entire crew here at Sweetwater that worked so hard to make this event happen. You guys got to give yourselves a round of applause, man. We definitely have the best team in the world, and they've been working like crazy for weeks and months to put this all together for you. Last, but certainly not least, thank you so much for joining us for day one of Sweetwater's GearFest 2022. We're so grateful you were watching today. I mean, wouldn't be much of a show if you weren't out there with us. I hope you'll come back and join us tomorrow. It's going to be an incredible day. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. See you then. Allie Venable, take us home with some more blues.